financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is you never know what can happen. Disability changes all. Good morning, Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken. Pleasure to be here. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about I can't remember what movie it's from, but you never know. You never know is a line from a movie, and I just don't. And it's been racking my brain to try and remember what it was from.
It's not hitting me. If I think of it,
I know you're the movie buff guy, so I thought maybe you would know.
Maybe it's not one of my 7 movies that I keep watching over and over.
Possibly not.
Jeffrey Kirshner, how are you?
Good morning. Good. I'm just reminded of this topic of what Brian had to say. A favorite slide that my mom likes to say is that man plans, but God laughs. You just never know what's going to happen no matter what you do.
For sure. And that's topical with our topic today when talking about disability. But what's new in Social Security disability? I know what's new in terms of the outline, in terms of there was a big COLA adjustment this year, which impacted both Social Security income and Social Security disability.
Correct. Yes. So that, as we've discussed and you've discussed, there has been an increase in the cost of living adjustment, which is a 5.9% increase, which is some welcome news. From a more practical standpoint, we are edging closer to actually having in-person hearings, although right now how hearings are going are by way of primarily teleconference. Some people are doing video hearings with mixed results, but they are getting much closer now to getting us actually back in front of the judges.
I think we're all experiencing a steady migration back to normalcy, whatever that normalcy will ultimately. I don't think normalcy in the environment of the court process will not be what it used to be. There's going to be a combination where some courts take advantage and use the gains that occurred from Zoom and teleconferencing, but we are migrating back to the norm. I mean, from the standpoint of litigation, having a status conference or having a discovery debate in terms of when parties are arguing about relatively procedural issues, doing them by video conference is much more efficient for the attorneys, and for the judges, and it saves clients money because I
can tell you. So in the Social Security world, I agree with you. I'd rather be in front of a judge. They've done a pretty good job of being by remote, by telephone. And I can tell you from a practical standpoint, having a client come here to my office where it's easier to get to than having to go through metal detectors. They're pretty timely with regard to these hearings. And for me, not having to drive places, certainly much more convenient. And just an update in the world of workers' compensation, though. In workers' compensation, we are back in person with masks. But the judges are very tolerant because they still want to keep as many people out as possible, are very tolerant about making calls, having a phone conference, doing facilitations either in person or by phone. And I agree with you going forward. I think all the court systems are learning that there's much more efficiency, especially in the minutia. Sometimes when you have to go to court, but it's not a major issue, a major motion going on, a lot of it can be handled by way of video conference or telephone, make the world much more efficient.
Yeah, the hybrid concept is here to stay, I think, and I think it's all the better.
I mean, it's made things more efficient, like for you, Brian, on 341s on bankruptcies.
Oh my God, the bankruptcy hearings are held. The client's at their house, we're at the office. the trustees at
I
their
think
office.
about it from the client's perspective. And in bankruptcy, you're nervous about the whole process because nobody's happy that they're filing bankruptcy. You no longer have to go down to court for the 341 hearing.
Well, I'll give it more pragmatic. Think about the fact that the person who is having financial difficulties in the first place doesn't have to pay $15 to park their car to go to a hearing at the bankruptcy court. Okay, that's the reality.
I mean,
how about in your world also that people who are filing for bankruptcy, it's very personal and it's somewhat embarrassing, and the fact that you can kind of have a little bit more privacy, not having to be in public in court, I think helps as well.
Yeah, that's how I see it for sure. Let me just throw out some numbers. The maximum Social Security benefit with this COLA adjustment is now at full retirement $3,345 if you file at full retirement. It's actually $4,194 for someone who decides not to file for Social Security until they reach 70. The average benefit for 2021 was $1,438. For Social Security disability, those numbers actually par up the same to Social Security income. The average Social Security disability benefit for 2021 was $1,277. What do you usually find, Jeff, as being about the average Social Security disability benefit?
I agree with that. And just to let people know that actually, so regular Social Security, old age retirement, you could get it early starting at age 62. But recall that if you start at age 62, you take about a 30% hit from your regular, as opposed to getting it when you're age 66 or 67, whenever you're eligible based on your year of birth. Social Security disability, people younger than the retirement age who are unable to work, actually their benefit is equivalent to what their regular mature Social Security rate is.
Their full age 66 benefit.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
which is
so
fair,
those averages are about the same.
Yeah, they're not filing Social Security disability because they want to. They're filing it because they need to.
You got to be foolish to want to, because you can make so much more money working, so many more benefits insurance-wise, mental and physical benefits, social benefits, every benefit possible, much better working than you can if you're on Social Security disability.
All right, we're coming up to a break. I want to do a case study after the break, but I want to kind of walk through with the elements first of establishing disability, just that, that what the threshold is and the 12-month rule and so forth. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to hit establishing disability, and then we'll do a case study.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, we'll get through this, we'll get through this.
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Okay, we're back. All right,
wait, I know we're back, but
we're not back.
No, we are back. But the thing is remember I said we were talking about the movie at the beginning? I remember what it is. It's Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss.
Well, that explains. I never watched that movie.
I promise you that one of the lines is, "You never know."
There you go.
I will, and I'm sure the way things work in the world, that movie will be on tomorrow, and I'll turn it on, I'll hit the channel, and that line will pop out. That's just the way.
It's a funny movie. You would actually like it.
Right. Establishing disability, Jeff. You can't do the work you can't do the work you did prior to your disability. You can't do the work because of your disability, and your disability will last at least a year or is expected to result in death. Is that
sure?
The basic rule?
Let me clarify that for a second. So the first issue is your disability has to last a year or longer, or the anticipated duration. You don't have to wait a year to apply. And I talk to all my clients. The sweet spot is usually the 5 or 6 month mark after, because it's a year or longer. The second issue, though, when they now analyze it, is whether or not you can go back and do your past relevant work, which is defined as work that you've done over the past 15 years, not your whole life, but the past 15 years, because that's relevant. Anything past 15 years, it's not relevant. It's too remote in time with regard to that. And yes, they look then to see if you can't do that, are there other jobs that exist in a significant amount that can still be performed despite your limitations? So those are the problems.
Those are the parameters. Thanks. All right. So Chuck's story. Chuck will be our case study. And here we go. Okay. He's 48 years old. He's married to Beth. He has 2 kids. He's self-employed as a painter and a contractor. 2018. He's living the dream. He's got a house in the suburbs, $375,000 market value, mortgage $325,000, cash in the bank $20,000. He's self-employed, making $100,000 a year. Beth's the legal assistant, making $50,000 a year. So they got good income between the two of them. Chuck, being self-employed, is habitually behind in his taxes. He still owes for 17 and 18, $20,000 for each of those 2 years. Their tax returns are married filing joint. The tax liability is really all Chuck. It's not. It's really not from Beth, because she's got withholding from her taxes. Their current payment plan's costing them $600 a month. They've got credit card debt. $60,000 is due on Chuck's cards. He's got available credit of $70,000. Beth has $40,000 due on her cards. She's got available credit of $30,000. A disability occurs January of 2019. Here's where things get bad. Accident. Chuck falls from the ladder. Severed spine, never going to work again. He applies for disability in March 2019. Here's their budget. Before the accident, even with the credit card payments at $2,500 a month, with paying IRS $600 a month, they're still plus $650 a month with their income, because they were making $150,000 a year. After the accident, Chuck's net pay of $6,666 a month goes away. They're now $6,000 in the negative immediately after the accident. Now, before we get into the accident and the disability, Brian, let's assume no accident. They were still $650 a month positive, but they were paying $2,500 a month in credit card payments and their taxes. What options do they have you could help them with their problem with the credit card debt, no accident occurring.
Well, Chuck and Beth, just for the record, at that point, do not qualify for a Chapter 7. They have too much money, too much income, and they can afford to make their payments. They don't want to afford to make their payments. They'd like to be out of debt. So that's the client that would be potentially eligible for a Chapter 13, which would restructure their debt and pay what they can afford. But in this case, based on what their Chapter 13 payment would be, they'd be paying their credit cards basically in full over a 5-year stretch. So they are the perfect debt resolution candidate, where we settle their credit card debts for pennies on the dollar and we let them go about their life. They're still going to have their IRS payment plan in the because they're not in any sort of a bankruptcy, but they're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on their credit cards just by negotiating settlements and resolving them.
So if you do that, and they're 25. So once they've resolved the credit card debt, they can eliminate that $2,500 expense.
Now they're $3,150 flush every month because they're bringing in that kind of money.
And if they do that, then Chuck won't have the problem of staying current on his taxes either.
Right. It's choosing the right tool to solve the long-term problem. Their long-term problem is that they're overextended. If they weren't overextended, they could put their money in the right slots, so to speak.
See, what happens in that situation, when you get into that type of credit card debt, you're paying all interest on the debt and you're never reducing the amount, and you're taking all of that available income and kind of flushing it down the drain. Once you get rid of that credit card debt through debt resolution, then all of a sudden they start saving that money for retirement. So it's a complete turnaround.
You're 100% correct. And the funny thing is you said flushing that money down the drain. People will continue to pay interest on credit cards, but if you gave them $1 and said, go flush it down the toilet, they'd look at you like you're an idiot.
I know. And the truth is that it's the same thing. It's a shame. All right. So that's assuming no disability. Now let's flip it back. We're coming up to the break, but back to where we were right after that accident. And now they've had a devastation reduction of income. The first question is, how long is it going to take Chuck in that situation to start collecting disability? Jeff, as soon as we get back from the break, that's the first question we need answered.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Samasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation via teleconference, in office. You know, we're COVID smart, but we can do it in the office, or we can do it through Zoom or on the telephone, whatever makes you most comfortable. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. We cover debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Again, just sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online for our free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Ken Gross and Jeff Linden, Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, and Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Simasko Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Simasko Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Simasko Law.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. All right, so Chuck, severed spine. This is the horrible event. This is life-shattering event. But he's never going to work again, Jeff. When do you apply for disability? He doesn't have to wait a year to apply, right?
No, and I wouldn't in this particular matter here. Again, Social Security for people unable to work for 12 months or longer, or the anticipated duration of your disability is 12 months or longer. In a case like this, clearly he's a candidate for Social Security. Clearly it would pique my interest and they would call me within a month or two after the incident. We would probably file approximately 5 to 6 months after the incident. Why? Because there's enough evidence at that point in time to show that, yes, he's been unable to work. And there's a good chance we could get approved right away because there's enough evidence to show that he's not going to recover at least for another 6 months. So I would apply about 5 to 6 months post-injury to start the process.
And the doctors are telling us in our hypothetical, he's not going to recover, period.
Right. So there's because of that, and because we can apply, and I've got a pretty good method as to when to apply, there's a decent chance, although statistically speaking, more likely than not, he will get denied rather than get approved. But that gives us our best chance to get approved.
And so the window on when he gets this money is how long? Short to long?
Well, it all depends. So short could be anywhere from 8 to 10 months once we apply, because they could get approved at the initial application, which could take a couple months. If it gets denied there, then there's a intermediary stage called request for reconsideration, which less than 10% of people get approved. Then you go to the hearing stage. So for the long term, I would say probably from when you file to when you get approved, you're looking at 12 to 18 months, more closer to the 16th month mark.
All right, so here's the questions for you, for both of you guys. What is he going to do about the tax debt during this interim period? What's he going to do about his credit cards, Brian? What's Beth going to do about her credit cards? What do they do in this interim period? What's their game plan here?
So in this case, their game plan is they're going to eventually file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There's a window that we're going to play with because they have $20,000 of cash in the bank and they have $50,000 equity in the home. And since they're 48 years old, they get a lower exemption on the house. They can protect roughly $50,000 equity in the home. That $20,000 is going to get spent awfully quickly. It will be gone. Probably.
Yeah, because all of a sudden they only have $3,000 a month coming in.
Right. And they're going to not pay their credit cards. They're going to not pay the taxes. And when it's appropriate, we're going to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. We're going to eliminate the tax liability. We're going to eliminate the credit cards. And in this case, because of the years of the tax liability, 17 and 18, they can get rid of everything. And the issue will be is what can they afford after the bankruptcy? Long term, will they be able to maintain the house? And when Jeff gets them Social Security disability, it will be a tight budget, but they will be able to maintain the house and Beth's car and food on the table.
Jeff, I took a shot and said if he's making $100,000 a year and he's been paying into the system, that his benefit would be around $2,600 a month. Is that close?
I think that's a good ballpark. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here, let's throw the numbers up on the chart. So first of all, let me ask both you guys. They need to file that bankruptcy before the big check comes from the arrearage on the Social Security disability, right?
Yeah, it's not just that. We have to look at all the factors, including the fact that there's equity in the house that is reaching the maximum. And with the values of homes going up so dramatically these days, people's eligibility for bankruptcy, I'm going to wait. I'll talk about it next month, next year, next 6 months, whatever it is. They're losing the opportunity to file bankruptcy instead of gaining it.
All right, so let me just go over the numbers real quickly because we're at the end. After you file the bankruptcy, you're going to get rid of the tax debt because that's dischargeable, right, Brian?
Correct.
We're going to get rid of the credit card debt. Chuck's going to get $2,600 of Social Security disability plus Beth's net wages. They'll have basically $6,000 a month coming in. Their expenses are going to come to $5,450. At the end of the day, they can keep the house, one car, because Chuck can't drive at that point, and then they'll be okay, and they'll have enough to live on. So it's not a good story because we can't fix Chuck's back, but at least they can keep the house and go on with their lives. That's a wrap. We'll have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality. Jeff, Brian, always fun.